Question 1. Topic: Adverse possession and prescription. When dealing with complex system that shows occasional disputes over property boundaries, landowner finds that neighbor has been using portion of their land for over 20 years. The neighbor has built shed on the disputed area, mowed the grass and even enclosed part of it with fence. The landowner never took action to remove the neighbor or formally assert ownership over the disputed land. Now the neighbor claims legally owned the portion of land through adverse possession. Under common adverse possession laws, which of the following is the most crucial element that would allow the neighbor to claim legal ownership? A. The landowner verbally permitted the neighbor to use the land but never put anything in writing. B. The neighbor's use of the land was open, notorious, continuous, exclusive, and adverse for the statutory period. C. The landowner attempted to reclaim the land within the last 5 years, but the neighbor refused. D. The neighbor paid property taxes on the disputed land but did not take any other ownership actions. Answer: B. The neighbor's use of the land was open, notorious, continuous, exclusive, and adverse for the statutory period. Explanation: to successfully claim adverse possession, the possession must be open, notorious, continuous, exclusive, and adverse for the statutory period, which varies by state, typically between 3 years. The neighbor's visible use of the land, building a shed, fencing it, and maintaining it supports their claim. A is incorrect because permission from the landowner negates the adverse requirement. Adverse possession must be without consent. C is incorrect because the landowner's attempt to reclaim the land within the statutory period would likely interrupt continuous possession, preventing claim. D is incorrect because merely paying property taxes without actual physical possession is insufficient to claim adverse possession. This scenario emphasizes the importance of property boundaries and taking timely legal action against unauthorized land use. Question 2. Topic: Eminent domain and condemnation. During major transformation where existing methods of land use must be reconsidered, city government seizes private property to construct new public highway. Several property owners are affected and challenge the government's right to take their land, arguing that the project primarily benefits private developers rather than the general public. Under the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment, which of the following factors is most relevant in determining whether the seizure is lawful? A. Whether the government provides just compensation to the property owners. B. Whether the project directly benefits private entities more than the general public. C. Whether the property owners agree to the seizure. D. Whether the government has owned other land that could have been used instead. Answer A. Whether the government provides just compensation to the property owners. Explanation: the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment states that private property cannot be taken for public use without just compensation. If the government adequately compensates property owners and proves a valid public purpose, such as infrastructure development, the seizure is typically lawful. B is incorrect because the U.S. Supreme Court in Kelo v. City of New London 2005 ruled that economic development projects benefiting private entities may still qualify as a public use if they serve broader economic or community goals. C is incorrect because eminent domain does not require property owner consent. Rather, it must meet legal standards. D is incorrect because the government is not required to use alternative land as long as chosen land serves a legitimate public purpose. This case highlights the balance between private property rights and government land use powers, teaching students the scope and limitations of eminent domain. Question 3. Topic: Lease agreements and tenant rights when implementing new protocols in shared environment. Commercial tenant in large shopping center fails to pay rent for 3 consecutive months. The lease agreement includes self-help eviction clause, allowing the landlord to lock the tenant out without court intervention. The tenant sues, arguing that the eviction was unlawful. Which of the following is the strongest legal argument in favor of tenant? A. The landlord must file for eviction in court, as self-help evictions are often illegal in commercial leases. B. The tenant has partial payments recorded, which should prevent eviction. C. The tenant's lease was still active, so the landlord had no right to enforce eviction. D. The shopping center's other tenants were not affected, so eviction was unnecessary. Answer A. The landlord must file for eviction in court, as self-help evictions are often illegal in commercial leases. Explanation: in most U.S. jurisdictions, self-help evictions, where a landlord forcibly removes a tenant without a court order, are illegal even if the lease includes a self-help provision. Courts typically require landlords to go through legal eviction proceedings to protect tenant rights. B is incorrect because partial rent payments do not excuse full non-payment or prevent eviction unless the lease agreement explicitly states otherwise. C is incorrect because can be terminated for non-payment even before its end date if rent is not paid as per the lease terms. D is incorrect because eviction does not require proof of harm to other tenants. It is based on violating lease terms. This question teaches students about tenant protections against unlawful evictions and the necessity for landlords to follow proper legal eviction procedures. Question 4. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a landowner discovers that a neighbor has built a structure that slightly encroaches onto their property. The encroachment has existed for over 20 years without any objection. The landowner now seeks to remove the encroaching structure, arguing that their property rights have been violated. The neighbor, however, claims ownership over the portion of land under the structure through possession. Under property law, which of the following statements is most accurate regarding the neighbor's claim? A. The neighbor cannot claim adverse possession because property rights are absolute and encroachment is form of trespass. B. The neighbor may have acquired ownership through adverse possession if they meet the legal requirements of continuous, exclusive, open, notorious, and hostile use for the statutory period. C. The landowner automatically retains full ownership since adverse possession cannot be applied to encroachments. D. The neighbor can claim adverse possession if the landowner explicitly consented to the encroachment. Answer: B. The neighbor may have acquired ownership through adverse possession if they meet the legal requirements of continuous, exclusive, open, notorious, and hostile use for the statutory period. Explanation: adverse possession allows an individual to gain legal ownership of land if they openly, exclusively, continuously, and adversely possess it for the statutory period required by state law. In most jurisdictions, this period ranges from 20 years. Since the encroaching structure has existed for over 20 years without objection, the neighbor may have a valid claim to that portion of the land. A. Incorrect. Property rights are not absolute if adverse possession elements are satisfied. Trespass can evolve into adverse possession if the rightful owner fails to act. C. Incorrect. Adverse possession can apply to encroachments provided all legal elements are met. D. Incorrect. Explicit consent would negate the hostility element required for adverse possession. The key takeaway is that adverse possession rewards those who use land actively while penal owners who neglect their property rights. Question 5. In a situation where resource allocation becomes contentious, a city government exercises eminent domain to acquire a privately owned building to construct a public hospital. The owner of the building challenges the action, arguing that the government is offering less than fair market value. What legal principle must the government satisfy to justify the taking, and what is the owner's best legal argument? A. The government must prove public use, and the owner's best argument is that the taking serves private rather than public interests. B. The government must prove economic necessity, and the owner's best argument is that the hospital project is financially unsustainable. C. The government must prove historical necessity, and the owner's best argument is that the building has landmark status. D. The government must prove efficiency, and the owner's argument is that alternative locations exist. Answer: A. The government must prove public use, and the owner's best argument is that the taking serves private rather than public interests. Explanation: under the Takings Clause of the Fifth Amendment, the government may take private property for public use provided it gives a just compensation. Courts interpret public use broadly to include public buildings, infrastructure, and even economic development in some cases. Kelo v. City of London, 2005. However, the owner can challenge the taking by arguing that the property is being acquired for private rather than public benefit. B. Incorrect. Economic necessity is not legal requirement for eminent domain. C. Incorrect. Landmark status may limit government takings, but is not always defense against eminent domain. D. Incorrect. Alternative locations are irrelevant if the government meets the public use requirement. This case highlights the tension between private property rights and governmental authority in land use. Question 6. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a real estate transaction, a buyer discovers that the property they purchased has an undisclosed lien from a previous owner. The buyer argues that they should not be responsible for the debt, but the lender claims they have the right to enforce the lien under property law, which principle determines whether the lien is enforceable against the new owner. A. The first in time, first in right doctrine, which prioritizes recording dates for liens. B. The doctrine of caveat emptor, which holds the buyer responsible for investigating liens before purchase. C. The Shelley's rule, which applies to life estates and remainder interests. D. The rule against perpetuities, which invalidates excessive future property interests. Answer A. The first in time, first in right doctrine, which prioritizes recording dates for liens. Explanation. The enforceability of a lien depends on recording statutes, which follow the first in time, first in right principle. Buyers should conduct a title search to identify encumbrances before purchasing property. The three types of recording statutes are res statute. The first party to record the lien has priority. Statute. A subsequent bona fide purchaser without notice takes title free of prior unrecorded interests. Res notice statute. The buyer must record first and lack notice of prior claims. B. Incorrect. While the buyer beware applies in some cases, liens are typically discoverable through title search. C. Incorrect. Shelley's rule applies to future interests, not liens. D. Incorrect. The rule against perpetuities governs future property interest, not liens. Title insurance policy can protect against undisclosed liens, reinforcing the importance of due diligence. Question 7. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, a developer purchases land with an implied easement for road access through a neighboring property. A neighbor later blocks access, arguing that no written agreement exists. What legal doctrine determines whether the developer retains access rights? A. The doctrine of implied easements, which grants access when prior use suggests necessity. B. The doctrine of merger, which states that easements terminate if both properties come under the same ownership. C. The doctrine of laches, which bars claims due to delay. D. The rule in Shelley's case, which applies to future interests in estates. Answer A. The doctrine of implied easements, which grants access when prior use suggests necessity. Explanation. Implied easements arise when land was previously used in a way that suggests ongoing necessity. Courts recognize two types. Easement by prior use. The claimant must show that the prior owner used the access route regularly and continued use is reasonable. Easement by necessity. If access is essential, e.g. landlocked property, courts may grant an easement even without prior use. B. Incorrect. Merger doctrine applies when an easement disappears due to single ownership, not when dispute arises. C. Incorrect. Laches applies when delays cause prejudice, but no delay exists here. D. Incorrect. Shelley's rule concerns inheritance, not land access. This case illustrates how property law ban historical land use with current ownership rights. Question 8. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a property developer realizes that a piece of land they purchased contains a structure encroaching onto an adjacent property. The previous owner had built a garage that extends 5 feet onto the neighbor's lot. The developer is now trying to determine the legal implications and potential resolutions. Which of the following is the most legally appropriate way to resolve the situation? A. The developer can immediately remove the encroaching structure without the neighbor's consent, as it is their responsibility. B. The neighbor has the legal right to demolish the encroaching portion without informing the developer. C. The developer may negotiate with the neighbor for an easement or buy the portion of land that is encroached upon. D. The neighbor must allow the encroachment to remain if the previous owner had been using it for more than 5 years. Answer C. The developer may negotiate with the neighbor for an easement or buy the portion of land that is encroached upon. Explanation. Encroachment issues fall under real property law, specifically dealing with adverse possession, easements, and property boundaries. Removing the structure without legal resolution could result in liability and be incorrect. Adverse possession typically requires continuous open and hostile possession for a statutory, often longer than 5 years, so D is incorrect. The most practical and legally sound solution is negotiating a formal agreement such as an easement or purchasing the affected land to resolve the boundary issue. Question 9. When scaling up operations that experience significant legal scrutiny, a real estate investor is considering purchasing multiple parcels of land with uncertain title history. The investor is concerned about potential claims from unknown heirs or past owners. What is the best way to protect the investment? A. File a quiet title action before purchasing the land to eliminate future claims. B. Purchase title insurance to protect against claims from undisclosed heirs or previous owners. C. Require the seller to sign a general warranty deed which guarantees against all past claims. D. Rely on the doctrine of adverse possession, assuming the current owner has occupied the land for over 10 years. Answer B. Purchase title insurance to protect against claims from undisclosed heirs or previous owners. Explanation. A quiet title action is typically done after purchasing the property to resolve disputes, not before. A general warranty deed C only protects against past claims made during the seller's ownership but does not eliminate risks from unknown past claims. Adverse possession D requires specific legal elements such as continuous and exclusive possession for the statutory period. The best legal protection is title insurance B, which provides coverage for hidden title defects, fraud, forgery, and unknown heirs who may later claim ownership. Question 10. While investigating a complicated issue between different property owners, a court finds that a developer violated zoning laws by constructing a commercial building in a residential zone. The local government is now considering remedies. Which of the following is the most likely legal outcome? A. The court may issue an injunction ordering demolition of the structure. B. The developer can continue using the building as a commercial space indefinitely under adverse possession. C. The developer automatically receives a zoning variance because the building is already constructed. D. The city must compensate the developer for losses if they require demolition. Answer A. The court may issue an injunction ordering demolition of the structure. Explanation. Zoning laws regulate land use and courts strictly enforce violations. Adverse possession B does not apply because zoning violations are a public concern, not just an ownership issue. Zoning variances C must be applied for before construction and are not automatic. Governments are not required to compensate D for illegal development unless a valid permit was mistakenly issued. The correct remedy is often a court-ordered injunction which may require modification or demolition to comply with zoning laws. Question 11. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a government entity invokes eminent domain to take private land for a new highway expansion. The landowner challenges the taking, arguing that it is unnecessary. What is the most important legal standard courts will use to evaluate the government's claim? A. Whether the taking serves a legitimate public purpose. B. Whether the landowner has owned the property for more than 20 years. C. Whether the government offered the landowner more than fair market value. D. Whether the landowner consents to the taking. Answer A. Whether the taking serves a legitimate public purpose. Explanation. Eminent domain allows the government to take private property for public use with just compensation under the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment. The key legal test is whether the taking serves a public purpose, such as highways or utilities. The length of ownership B is irrelevant. The government must provide fair market value, but offering more than required. C is not. Legal obligation. Consent D is not required. Landowners can object only on public necessity or procedural grounds. Question 12. In a case where multiple parties have different objectives, a landowner wishes to terminate an existing easement used by a neighboring property. Under what circumstances can an easement be legally terminated? A. If the servient estate owner unilaterally revokes permission for use. B. If the dominant estate owner ceases to use the easement for a legally sufficient period. C. If the dominant estate owner transfers the property to a new owner. D. If the servient estate owner files an injunction against the dominant estate. Answer B. If the dominant estate owner ceases to use the easement for a legally sufficient period. Explanation. Easements are permanent unless legally terminated. A servient estate owner cannot unilaterally revoke a mere transfer of property. C. Does not terminate the easement unless specifically stated. An injunction D. Only enforces rights. It does not automatically end an easement. Non-use for a legally sufficient period B. Defined by local laws can lead to abandonment and termination. Question 13. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges must be addressed simultaneously, an organization is implementing a new compliance framework that affects all operational units. What is the most effective strategy for ensuring smooth adoption while minimizing disruption? A. Immediately enforce the new framework with strict penalties for non-compliance. B. Gradually introduce the framework through a phased approach with stakeholder involvement. C. Assign a single department to oversee the enforcement and bypass internal feedback. D. Delay implementation until all departments fully agree on the changes. Answer B. Gradually introduce the framework through a phased approach with stakeholder involvement. Explanation. A phased approach with stakeholder involvement B helps manage resistance, ensure smooth integration, and allow for necessary adjustments to immediate enforcement, risks confusion and non-compliance, assigning a single department. C. May ignore operational realities. Delaying implementation D may cause further inefficiencies, regulatory risks. Question 14. During a critical transition period where existing processes need to be revised, an organization discovers significant inefficiencies in data sharing practices. What is the best way to improve accuracy and streamline workflows? A. Centralize all data into one master repository without department input. B. Implement a standardized data governance policy with automated validation checks. C. Allow departments to maintain their own data systems with minimal oversight. D. Conduct occasional audits but avoid significant structural changes. Answer: B. Implement a standardized data governance policy with automated validation checks. Explanation: a standardized data governance policy B ensures data integrity, reduces errors, and improves efficiency. Centralizing all data without department input may create resistance and inaccuracies. Minimal oversight C can lead to inconsistent records. Occasional audits D do not proactively prevent errors. Question 15. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures under peak demand, what is the most effective long-term solution to ensure reliability? A. Increase system capacity based on worst-case scenarios. B. Implement dynamic load balancing mechanisms and predictive maintenance. C. Rely on manual interventions whenever failures occur. D. Reduce user access during peak times to minimize risk. Answer: B. Implement dynamic load balancing mechanisms and predictive maintenance. Explanation: dynamic load balancing and predictive maintenance B ensure optimal performance and prevent failures before they happen. Over-provisioning capacity A is expensive and inefficient. Manual interventions C are reactive, not proactive. Restricting access D negatively affects user experience and does not solve the root issue. Question 16. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in an automated production line, engineers find that minor inefficiencies in early stages lead to major breakdowns downstream. What is the best approach to mitigate these issues? A. Focus only on fixing the final breakdown points. B. Apply process optimization techniques to reduce inefficiencies at each stage. C. Increase maintenance checks but avoid adjusting the workflow. D. Accept minor inefficiencies as unavoidable and address only major failures. Answer: B. Apply process optimization techniques to reduce inefficiencies at each stage. Explanation: process optimization techniques B. address root causes rather than just symptoms, preventing escalating failures. Fixing only breakdown points A is short-sighted. More maintenance C helps but does not fix workflow inefficiencies. Accepting inefficiencies D leads to avoidable disruptions. Question 17. When developing a solution that must address opposing needs of efficiency and compliance, what is the best way to balance both priorities? A. Prioritize compliance and accept lower efficiency. B. Optimize efficiency first, then adjust for compliance where possible. C. Use a risk-based approach to find a balanced trade-off. D. Rely on historical practices to determine the best path forward. Answer: C. Use a risk-based approach to find a balanced trade-off. Explanation: a risk-based approach C allows for balanced decision-making, ensuring regulatory adherence while maintaining efficiency. Prioritizing one over the other can cause business disruptions. Relying on historical practices D does not account for evolving regulations or technological advancements. Question 18. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple operational areas after new technology implementation, what is the best response? A. Roll back the changes and return to the previous system. B. Identify user challenges and adjust training or workflows. C. Increase manual oversight to catch inefficiencies. D. Assume that efficiency will naturally improve over time. Correct answer: B. Identify user challenges and adjust training or workflows. Explanation: identifying user challenges B allows for targeted training and workflow adjustments, ensuring successful adoption. Rolling back changes A wastes investment. Manual oversight C is a temporary fix, not a long-term solution. Assuming improvement over time D risks continued inefficiencies. Question 19. During a major transformation where existing methods no longer align with new business objectives, what is the best strategy to drive successful change? A. Enforce the new methods without room for discussion. B. Communicate the benefits and involve stakeholders early. C. Delay the transformation until unanimous agreement is reached. D. Retain old methods in parallel to ease transition indefinitely. Answer: B. Communicate the benefits and involve stakeholders early. Explanation: Early stakeholder involvement. B. Ensures buy-in and smooth implementation. Enforcing changes A. Can cause resistance. Waiting for full agreement. C. Is unrealistic. Keeping old methods indefinitely. D. Prevents full transformation. Question 20. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, an organization faces compatibility issues after integrating third-party software. What is the best way to resolve these issues? A. Redesign the entire system to match the new software. B. Develop middleware solutions to bridge compatibility gaps. C. Remove the third-party software and revert to manual processes. D. Accept the incompatibilities and adjust workflows around them. Answer. B. Develop middleware solutions to bridge compatibility gaps. Explanation. Middleware solutions B. Allow for seamless integration without overhauling the entire system. Redesigning A. Is costly. Removing software C. Negates technological progress. Adjusting workflows around incompatibilities D. Leads to inefficiencies. Question 21. While managing a hybrid approach where timing issues affect coordination across departments, what is the best solution? A. Implement a synchronized scheduling system with real-time updates. B. Rely on individual departments to self-coordinate. C. Reduce interactions between departments to minimize conflicts. D. Allow timing mismatches to persist and address issues as they arise. Answer. A. Implement a synchronized scheduling system with real-time updates. Explanation. A synchronized scheduling system A. Ensures smooth coordination and reduces timing conflicts. Self-coordination B. Can lead to miscommunication, reducing interactions. C. Creates silos, addressing issues reactively. D. Leads to constant disruptions. Question 22. When implementing backup procedures across various operational units, what is the most effective strategy? A. Standardize backup protocols with periodic testing. B. Allow each unit to define its own backup processes. C. Rely on third-party vendors without internal oversight. D. Only activate backup systems when failures occur. Answer. A. Standardized backup protocols with periodic testing. Explanation. Standardized protocols A. Ensure consistency and reliability, allowing independent processes. B. Risks inconsistencies, relying on third parties. C. Without oversight is risky, only activating backups during failures. D. Increases downtime risks. Question 23. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with operational realities, a team is struggling to comply with new regulatory mandates without disrupting efficiency. What is the best approach to align both needs? A. Follow the formal requirements strictly regardless of impact. B. Identify key compliance risks and integrate them into workflow improvements. C. Request an exemption from compliance to maintain efficiency. D. Delay implementation until a perfect solution is found. Answer. B. Identify key compliance risks and integrate them into workflow improvements. Explanation. Integrating compliance into workflow improvements. B. Ensures both adherence and efficiency. Strict adherence A. May disrupt operations. Seeking exemptions. C. Can be risky and unsustainable. Delaying implementation. D. May lead to non-compliance penalties. Question 24. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, what is the most effective way to ensure sustainable improvements? A. Analyze root causes and implement targeted process adjustments. B. Introduce broad changes without detailed analysis. C. Accept the results and adapt around them. D. Revert to the previous version of the process. Answer. A. Analyze root causes and implement targeted process adjustments. Explanation. Analyzing root causes they ensures effective and sustainable solutions. Broad changes B. May introduce new problems. Accepting results C. Ignores underlying inefficiencies. Reverting D. Discards potential improvements. Question 25. While examining inconsistencies across various units, an organization finds significant variations in performance metrics. What is the best method to standardize outcomes? A. Develop a centralized framework with performance benchmarks. B. Allow each unit to operate independently with minimal oversight. C. Enforce strict uniformity without considering local challenges. D. Address inconsistencies or new and major discrepancies arise. Answer. A. Develop a centralized framework with performance benchmarks. Explanation. A centralized framework A. Provides clear expectations and alignment. Independent operation B. May result in wider inconsistencies. Strict uniformity C. May overlook operational realities. Reactive fixes D. Are ineffective long term. Question 26. In a case where multiple parties have different objectives within a project, what is the best way to align goals? A. Identify common interests and establish a shared framework. B. Allow each party to pursue their own goals without interference. C. Prioritize the goals of the most influential stakeholders. D. Delay project progress until full consensus is reached. Answer: A. Identify common interests and establish a shared framework. Explanation: a shared framework A. ensures alignment and collaboration. Independent pursuit B. may cause misalignment. Prioritizing influential stakeholders C. can create resentment. Delaying progress D. can hinder productivity. Question 27. During a major transformation where existing methods are outdated, resistance to change is increasing. What is the best approach to ensure a successful transition? A. Engage employees early and provide clear change management support. B. Enforce new methods without allowing feedback. C. Delay changes until resistance disappears. D. Retain old methods as an option to minimize disruption. Answer: A. Engage employees early and provide clear change management support. Explanation: engaging employees early A. reduces resistance and increases buy-in. Enforcing change B. can cause backlash. Delaying C. prevents progress. Retaining old methods D. may slow adoption. Question 28. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, integration issues arise after a system update. What is the best approach to resolve this? A. Conduct a root cause analysis and adjust integration protocols. B. Roll back the update to avoid further issues. C. Require manual workarounds for affected components. D. Accept the inconsistencies and move forward. Answer: A. Conduct a root cause analysis and adjust integration protocols. Explanation: root cause analysis A. ensures a structured resolution. Rolling back B. may delay necessary improvements. Manual workarounds C. reduce efficiency. Ignoring issues D. can cause long-term instability. Question 29. When implementing backup procedures across various operational units, inconsistent practices lead to data recovery failures. What is the best way to establish reliability? A. Standardize backup protocols with regular testing. B. Allow each unit to maintain independent backup methods. C. Rely solely on third-party backup solutions. D. Only activate backup procedures in case of emergencies. Answer: A. Standardize backup protocols with regular testing. Explanation: standardization A. ensures consistent, reliable backups. Independent methods B. risk inconsistencies. Third-party reliance C. without oversight is risky. Emergency-only activation D. increases failure risk. Question 30. During the introduction of new methods where coordination across teams is crucial, what is the most effective way to ensure success? A. Establish clear communication channels and phased implementation. B. Enforce new methods without consulting affected teams. C. Assign responsibility to a single department and minimize cross-team involvement. D. Expect teams to adjust naturally over time. Answer: A. Establish clear communication channels and phased implementation. Explanation: clear communication A. and phased implementation allow for smooth adoption. Enforcement without consultation B. causes resistance. Minimizing involvement C. reduces collaboration. Expecting natural adjustment D. risks confusion.